Reading opens so many doors as a Christian and as a human being. It brings conversations into our midst. And as Christians, we know that it brings us into a conversation where God provides for his people. And so we read not because we're simply bibliophile elitists, but ultimately because God has given us a book. And because our attention to that book and our learning of that book from others takes the form of words. And so as Christians living dependently on the means of grace, we are committed to and always have been invested in being people of the book and of words. And that can be hard. We live in a culture that in some unique and new ways, though we're remarkably literate, leans against literacy. And so I'd encourage folks who want to grow in their ability as readers to plan routines that are doable and regular, to find a pattern first of reading Scripture that is going to bring before them the whole counsel of God, the full breadth of Scripture. We can so easily be people who go only to the news sites that feed what we like or the angle that we lean to. Our Google e-reader can put before us the echo chamber of voices that we're comfortable with. And if we're honest, Christians can do this as well. We can be people of the red letters or of Paul or of these texts or that testament. And so it's so important, I think, to remember what Paul says to Timothy in 2 Timothy 3, that all of Scripture is there to make the Christian equipped for every good work. And so we want to read through the totality of Scripture. I think we also want to be alert to the fact that we tend to stink at talking to others and talking to God. And so uniquely in Scripture, we want to attend to the Psalms. And I would commend the practice of reading one or more Psalms a day that we might learn how to talk to God in all sorts of circumstances. We tend to think that we can only talk to God when the world is falling apart or when we've been super successful. But whatever our situation, we can sometimes feel like we wish God could be addressed here and not quite know how to do it respectfully or faithfully. And the Psalms are really a vision of how every situation of human life, every kind of experience personally and corporately, inwardly and outwardly, can be taken before God. And so they teach us how to speak to each other and how to bring life before God. And so I strongly commend the practice of prioritizing the use of Psalms and reading and praying. And then thirdly, I would just suggest reading through the classics. It's so easy to read the latest, but I think C.S. Lewis was right in addressing that notion of chronological snobbery. It's not that old books are better, it's simply that the old books that have remained have, by and large, stood the test of time for a reason. And thankfully, most of what we publish today probably won't last hundreds of years. And so we do well to attend to the witnesses that have profoundly impacted and inspired and encouraged and in many ways provoked Christian reflection and witness. And the issue isn't so much to start here or to read that, but to find the figures who are significant, who are wrestling with Scripture, who are seeking to take every thought captive to Christ, to find the Augustines and the Bernards, to find the Calvins or the Owens, whoever the figures may be in the tradition, and simply to read them whole, to read them patiently, to read them with an expectation that even their foreignness and their antiquity will challenge us and provoke us and deepen our self-examination under the authority of the Word. So those are just a few ways in which I've found myself better equipped as a reader, and hopefully by implication and by God's grace as a Christian and a human being, and disciplines that I want to lean into and that I want to commend to students and other Christians.